I now call the East Lyme Zoning Commission regular meeting of November 6, 2025 to order at 7:30 p.m. And could we please start with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have our official roll call. I'm here, Ms. Kalal. Here. Mr. Peck. Yep. Ms. Markovitz. Here. Ms. Jet Harris. Here. Mr. Foley is absent. I believe our only alternate here tonight, Mr. Liska, would you sit? Ms. Susko, Ms. Uhas are absent. Mr. Mulholland. Here. Ms. LaRocco. Here. Ms. Hardy. All right. Welcome back. It's, well, maybe I'm the one that was gone. It's nice to be back. And I'd like to welcome our new, soon-to-be alternate, Carrie Edwards. Thank you for coming.
Here comes Sarah.
We're going to start with the public hearing. The first item on our public hearing. Oh, it is Sarah's turn to sit.
Okay.
Since you're here, since we hadn't started yet. Thank you anyway, Jim. Our first public hearing is a proposal to amend Section 1 by adding the definition of short-term rentals to the East Lyme zoning regulations. I note that the legal ads have been run. Ms. Claw, would you like to read this memo?
Of course. Memo to East Lyme Zoning Commission from William Mulholland, zoning official. Read text amendment proposal to East Lyme zoning regulations, Section 1- short-term rental definition, dated September 29th, 2025. This is a zoning commission generated text amendment proposal. For the purpose of adopting a definition of short-term rentals, or STRs. The proposal is solely to define the item with no other action or regulation under consideration at this time. The Commission, after some debate and discussion, chose to move this item forward as a housekeeping matter. Should this measure be adopted, it will define the use. However, it does not address any other aspects of short-term rentals, including whether or not they are permitted uses, or grandfathered or not grandfathered, are or not regulated. These questions may be considered in the future but are not part of this discussion. At this time, the board is only reviewing the proposal presented. The proposal language reads, short-term rental, the rental of a furnished dwelling or residence, including a room with a dwelling or residence or similar accommodation for a fee for up to 30 consecutive calendar days, and for which there is an obligation to pay a state room occupancy tax pursuant to General Statutes 12-408H, as that statute may be amended from time to time. Short-term rental does not include hotels, inns, bed and breakfast, or motel uses. In conclusion, the board should very carefully evaluate the input from the various referral agencies and the proposal as written.
Next, we have a memo from the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments.
I'll read it.
Sure, I'll read. Oh, go ahead.
William Mulholland, zoning official, Town of East Lyme, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut. Dear Mr. Mulholland, I am writing a response to a request for an intermunicipal referral for the Town of East Lyme. The application was received on August 27th. The application was referred to this agency pursuant to Section 8-3B of the Connecticut General Statutes. The proposed amendment seeks to add the short-term rental and its definition to Section 1 of the town zoning regulations. This term applies to rental stays up to 30 consecutive days and does not include hotels, inns, bed and breakfast, or motels. Based on a review of the material provided, I have determined that the proposed zoning regulation amendment is not likely to have a negative intermunicipal impact. If you have any questions, please contact me at 475-328-1832. Sincerely, Lana Harrison, Planner, CCOG.
Thank you. Next, we have a memo from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection.
Read that one. Can you read that, please? East Lyme Zoning Commission, William Mulholland, zoning official. Proposed zone text amendment for Section 1, new definition for short-term rentals. Dear Commissioners, thank you for notifying this office of the proposed zoning text amendment for Section 1 of the East Lyme zoning regulations as noted above. Acting as the Commissioner's staff, our office has reviewed the proposed zoning text amendment for consistency with the policies and standards of the Connecticut Coastal Management Act, and we find it to be consistent. Please to be advised that this consistency determination was based on a coastal management consideration only. It does not necessarily reflect other municipal planning and zoning considerations that may apply. These comments are made in response to the review requirement contained in Section 22A-104E of the Connecticut General Statutes, which require that notification be sent to the Commissioner of Energy and Environmental Protection at least 35 days prior to the commencement of the public hearing. Once notified, our office is responsible for reviewing the proposal's consistency with the policies of Section 22A-92 and the criteria of Section 22A-102B of the CCMA. Once again, DEEP would like to thank you for the opportunity to review and comment on the proposed zoning text amendments. Should you have any questions regarding this, feel free to contact me by email. Sincerely, Karen Michaels.
Thank you. Next, we have a memo from the Planning Commission. Would someone like to read that?
Okay. To Ann Thurlow, Chairwoman, East Lyme Zoning Commission, Town of East Lyme, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut. Read, application of the East Lyme Zoning Commission for a proposed text amendment to amend Section 1 by adding the definition of short-term rentals to the East Lyme zoning regulations. Chairwoman Thurlow, East Lyme Planning Commission at its meeting of September 9th unanimously found the above referenced text amendment consistent with the 2020 East Lyme Plan of Conservation and Development. If you have any further questions regarding this letter or the POCD, do not hesitate to contact Director of Planning, Gary Geschel.
Thank you. Does the commission have any discussion before we go to the public?
The only question I have is when we're talking about short-term rentals, where do academic rentals fit into this? Because I know we still have them.
When we talked about this earlier, I had proposed doing short-term academic and long-term, and the discussion on this commission was they didn't feel it was necessary to do academic and long-term and voted it down.
I recall that. I do remember that, but I guess the only problem I have with it is there's still what can I say that word? Academic record going on. People are doing it, and
well, I think typically, if I may, one can rent their house. You can rent it for a year. It's typical. It's historical. Academic rentals are generally historical in most communities that have education institutions, whether it's a high school or a college, etc. So I think that's accepted, generally speaking, in the zoning and planning and land use world. So I think the thought was it was not necessary, because if you define short-term rental, it's 30 days. So everything else is considered
more than 30
Yes.
days, which is an academic rental. So you're
that
okay
clears it
there.
up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
I think perhaps we should read the definition for the public.
Okay, it was in Bill's memo, but we'll read it again. Short-term rental, the rental of a furnished dwelling or residence, including a room within a dwelling or residence, or similar accommodation for a fee for up to 30 consecutive calendar days, and for which there's an obligation to pay a state room occupancy tax pursuant to general statutes, sections 12 through 408H, as that statute may be amended from time to time. Short-term rental does not include hotels, inns, bed and breakfast, or motel uses. And I think this is the same definition that the state uses, so we're consistent with the state if we talk about it another time.
And planning also says that it's consistent in regards to our POCD.
Do we know if most of our short-term rentals currently collect that tax, the room occupancy tax?
They're supposed to.
Well, we don't know because that's not something we do
Yeah.
at this time. So,
Right, just right now, we're just trying to get the definition of it, and then we'll
Yeah.
move forward.
Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak for, against, or have a neutral comment on this? No? Do we feel we can close the hearing, or?
Yes, I do.
I make a motion that we close the East Lyme Zoning Commission hearing to amend zoning regulations by adding, I'm in the wrong place. I recommend that we,
We just have to close
We're doing that in
it.
a regular meeting.
okay,
We're just closing the hearing.
we'll
now.
just close the hearing.
So we just need
I make a
second.
motion that we close the hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Hearing's closed. We'll move on to the application of the East Lyme Zoning Commission to amend the East Lyme zoning regulations by adding sections 6.1.6, 7.1.6, and that's it, agricultural or farm poultry, 6 or less, and amending section 25.5, table of minimum controls. I note the legal ads have been run. I also note that the commission adopted the original chicken regulations, less than 6, in 2013. And I believe we have a memo from Mr. Mulholland to read.
You do. Do you want me to read that?
If you wouldn't mind. that'd be
I
great.
wouldn't mind at all. East Lyme Zoning Commission, William Mulholland Zoning Official, proposed zoning regulation text amendment poultry, September 24th, 2025. As requested below, you will find a proposed text amendment to expand the existing zoning regulations governing the keeping of chickens. This change will permit this activity in the R12 and the R10 zoning districts as is not presently allowed. Zoning code currently regulates the use as follows in 4 of the 6 residential districts. 1, RU 200 zone as of right use. RU 120 zone and as of right use. RU 80 zone as and as of right use. RU 40 zone, section 5.4 as a right for 6 chickens or less as regulated in section 25.5, which states agricultural or farm poultry. Zones RU 200, RU 120, RU 80, RU 40. Controls: 1, you shall be on a lot not less than 1 acre. 2, minimum 1 acre required. 3, no roosters permitted. 4, no more than 6 hens may be kept. 5, a chicken coop and enclosure shall be required on all properties where chickens are kept. 6, chickens are allowed only in the chicken coop and outdoor enclosure. Free-range activity is not permitted. The coop shall accommodate not more than 6 chickens. The coop and coop yard may not be located in a front or side yard and shall not be visible from street or neighboring property. 8, the coop shall be a minimum size of 6 by 8 feet, 6 feet by 8 feet by 6 feet in height. 9, the coop enclosure shall be fenced. 10, the coop and enclosure may not be located within the required setback of the underlying zone. 11, any compost of waste shall comply with Connecticut's best management practices for agriculture. 12, waste materials must be disposed of in a manner that will not cause odors, flies, or attract vermin.
Do you want me to read the next one?
Sure.
excuse me, I think there's a page 2.
Is there
that's
another
missing.
page?
No?
I don't have
We don't
page
have
2.
it.
I don't have it either, because it looks to me like, but anyway, let's move forward.
Did you write more?
So
Go
this
ahead.
is the new language for the new regs, right? So they have to have an acre, right?
This is the existing language.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, there's no page 2.
We don't have page 2. We don't need it? Okay, so I'll continue.
I thought there were.
Where is it?
You just read, that's my, you just.
Here.
That's it?
I just read.
That's it?
It looks to me like there is because there's more language in the original.
Wait.
Okay, never mind, apparently I just read it.
She just read it.
Okay.
Okay, so October 2nd, 2025, the next memo to William Mulholland, zoning official, Town of East Lyme. Dear Mr. Mulholland, I am writing in response to a request for an intermunicipal referral for the Town of East Lyme. The application was received on
do that,
September
yeah.
25th. The application was referred to this agency pursuant section 8-3B. Do we have page 2?
Yes.
Oh, well,
Let's-
scratch what I just
Let's go
said.
back and finish this one. Thank you.
Okay, page 2, here we go.
I think you left off with
The
12.
coop and enclosure must be clean and odor-free, kept in a neat and sanitary condition at all times, in a manner that will not disturb the use or enjoyment of neighborhood properties. Note, a special permit is not required for uses under this section. Because these regulations are in place and apparently are managing the use as originally designed, it is proposed to also use these regulations in the R12 and R10 zones. This would result in regulations being the same for all residential zones. Therefore, it is specifically proposed to add a new section 6.1.6 agricultural or farm poultry, 6 or less, to the R12 zoning regulations, and to add a new section 7.1.6 agricultural or farm poultry, 6 or less, to the R10 zoning regulation. It is further proposed to modify items 1 and 2 of section 25.5, table of minimum controls, to include R12 and R10 zones require 10,000 square feet.
Thank you. Now we can move on to the CCOG memo.
Right, October 2nd, 2025, William Mulholland, zoning official, Town of East Lyme, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut. Dear Mr. Mulholland, I am writing in response to a request for an intermunicipal referral for the Town of East Lyme. The application was received on September 25th. The application was referred to this agency pursuant section 8-3B of the Connecticut General Statutes. The proposed amendment seeks to allow for the keeping of chickens in the R12 and R10 residential zoning districts. To accommodate this change, it also seeks to require that R12 and R10 lots used for this purpose be at least 10,000 square feet. Based on the review of this material provided, I've determined that the proposed zoning regulation amendment is not likely to have a negative intermunicipal impact. If you have any questions, please contact me, 475-328-1832. Sincerely, Lana Harrison.
Thank you. Next, we have a deep memo. Anyone up for reading that?
I'll read it. East Lyme Zoning Commission, care of William Mulholland, zoning official, zoning department. Proposed zoning text amendment for sections 16.1.6, 7.1.6, and 25.5 regarding agriculture poultry. Dear Commissioners, thank you for notifying this office of the proposed zoning text amendments for section 6.1.6, 7.1.6, and 25.5 of the East Lyme zoning regulations as noted above. Acting as the Commissioner's staff, our office has reviewed the proposed zoning text amendments for consistency with the policies and standards of the Connecticut Coastal Management Act, and we find them to be consistent. Please be advised that this consistency determination was based on the coastal management considerations only. It does not necessarily reflect the other municipal planning and zoning considerations that may apply. These comments are made in response to the review requirement contained in section 22A-104E of the Connecticut General Statutes, which requires that notification be sent to the Commissioner of Energy and Environmental Protection at least 35 days prior to the commencement of the public hearing. Once notified, our office is responsible for reviewing the proposal's consistency with the policies of section 22A-92 and the criteria of section 22A-102B of the CCMA. Once again, DEP would like to thank you for the opportunity to review and comment on the proposed zoning text amendment. If you have any questions regarding this letter, feel free to contact me, Karen A. Michaels.
Thank you. Sarah's offered to read the next
Oh,
one.
goody.
Go for it.
Okay.
October 16th, 2025. Ann Thurlow, Chair, East Lyme Zoning Commission, Town of East Lyme, P.O. Box 519, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut. RE, application of the East Lyme Zoning Commission for a proposed text amendment to the East Lyme zoning regulations by adding sections 6.1.6 and 7.1.6 agricultural or farm poultry, 6 or less, and by amending section 25.5 table of minimum controls. Chairwoman Thurlow, the East Lyme Planning Commission at its meeting of October 14th, 2025, unanimously found the above referenced text amendment consistent with the 2020 East Lyme Plan of Conservation and Development as amended with the following comments. 1. The zoning regulations do not clearly define the term agriculture. The Connecticut General Statutes, Section 1-1Q, defines agriculture as follows. Except as otherwise specifically defined, the words agriculture and farming shall include cultivation of the soil, dairying, forestry, raising or harvesting any agricultural or horticultural commodity, including the raising, shearing, feeding, caring for, training, and management of livestock, including horses, bees, poultry, fur-bearing animals and wildlife, and the raising or harvesting of oysters, clams, mussels, other molluscan, shellfish, or fish, the operation, management, conservation, improvement, or maintenance of a farm and its buildings, tools and equipment, or salvaging timber or cleared land of brush or other debris left by storm, as an incident to such farming operations, the production or harvesting of maple syrup or maple sugar, or any agricultural commodity, including lumber, as an incident to ordinary farming operations, or the harvesting of mushrooms, the hatching of poultry, or the construction, operation, or maintenance of ditches, canals, reservoirs, or waterways used exclusively for farming purposes. Handling, planting, drying, packing, packaging, processing, freezing, grading, storing, or delivering to storage or to market, or to a carrier for transportation to market, or for direct sale, any agricultural or horticultural commodity as an incident to ordinary farming operations, or in the case of fruits and vegetables, as an incident to the preparation of such fruits or vegetables for market or for direct sale. The term farm includes farm buildings and accessory buildings thereto, nurseries, orchards, ranges, greenhouses, hoop houses, and other temporary structures or other structures used primarily for the raising and, as an incident to ordinary farming operations, the sale of agricultural or horticultural commodities. The term aquaculture means the farming of the waters of the state and tidal wetlands and the production of protein food, including fish, oysters, clams, mussels, and other molluscan shellfish, on leased, franchised, and public underwater farmlands. Nothing herein shall restrict the power of a local zoning authority under Chapter 124. Number 2. While the intent of the change appears to be specifically in regard to the keeping of poultry, 6 or less, on parcels of 1 acre or more within the R10 or R12 zoning district, it could be argued that a literal interpretation of the proposed language would suggest agriculture, as understood above, will become a permitted use by right, including the keeping of poultry, which would be limited to 6 birds or chickens. Whereas, if more than 6 birds or chickens were to be kept, a special permit to conduct such an agricultural use would be required. However, the proposed language as worded, the term agriculture stands alone as it is followed by a comma. Therefore, any other agricultural use such as dairying, forestry, raising or harvesting any agricultural or horticultural commodity, including the raising, shearing, feeding, caring for, training, and management of livestock, including horses, bees, poultry, fur-bearing animals, and wildlife, would become permitted uses by right in the 2 zoning districts, provided it occurs on a parcel of land 1 acre or more
No.
and meets any other zoning requirements such as setbacks. As such, if the zoning commission's intent is to have the only agricultural use permitted by right in the 2 zones being the keeping of no more than 6 birds, the planning commission recommends the following. 1, adopting a definition of agriculture, and 2, clarifying specifically whether just the keeping of up to 6 birds is to be the only agricultural use permitted by right in the R10 and R12 zoning districts. If you have any further questions regarding this letter or the POCD, please do not hesitate to contact the Director of Planning, Gary Geschel, at 860-691-4105. Sincerely, Brian Baumbach, Secretary, East Lyme Planning Commission.
Thank you. Well, it's our time to discuss, make comments about this proposal. Yes, but the commission, we talked before we asked the public.
Okay,
So since you brought this up, do you want to make the first comment?
I will make many comments actually.
Okay.
Okay, so, I have, thanks to the internet, you all know I'm really good at the internet.
Nancy, could you
Oh.
please, thank you.
I have been through the regulations for the city of New Haven, which I thought were interesting because anybody in the city of New Haven can keep chickens as long as they're 15 feet from an abode in a side or rear lot, which I thought was kind of nice. And they actually define the statement of purpose, which is to make provisions for non-commercial use for the keeping of chickens or female chickens on residential properties for the health, convenience, and for the personal enjoyment benefits on the manner which preserves the quality of life for the surrounding neighborhood. So I decided that if the city of New Haven can keep chickens any place, so could the citizens of East Lyme, since the price of food keeps going up.
Nancy, do you happen to remember the size of lots? I'm just curious that they allow in for chickens in New Haven.
They do not define a lot size. They say that
Okay.
anyone by right can keep chickens in the city of New Haven. At least if they did, I couldn't find it.
But we are adding the last 2 residential areas, so we'd be able to keep them in all 6 residential areas.
Well, but that doesn't do anything for the people who have lots less than 10,000 square feet. Then they have to come to Mr. Mulholland and bother him and ask him for a variance. And I thought part of the purpose of life is to decrease the stress on Mr. Mulholland for silly things that many people
Amen.
many people keep chickens illegally. And furthermore,
So you're not for your text amendment that we voted on last?
in the beginning, I said that I thought that 10,000 square feet was silly, that anyone should by right be able to keep chickens if they so desired. And furthermore,
Are there any lots smaller than 10,000? How many lots
Yes.
smaller
Well,
than?
in the community, there are a lot of pre-existing non-conforming smaller lots in the more dense neighborhoods. There are.
Pine Grove is one example.
There's some 3,000 even. There are some 6s in the more dense neighborhoods. As an example, Pine Grove, Giants Neck Heights,
That's
Saunders
pretty
Point.
But someone could still come get a special permit if it's smaller
If
than
they meant,
10.
well, they would need a variance on the lot
Yeah.
size. So if your intent is to revise this once again, then maybe we should go back to the drawing board. It's up to you as a group.
I personally am happy to go back to the drawing board because I have figured out that if you have a coop that's 6 by 6 by 8, that's 36 square feet. Connecticut's chicken best management practices say you need 3 square feet per hen. So if somebody only wants 2 chickens, our regulations state that they have to have a coop 6 by 6 by 8. And that just seems like overkill, since most people just put them into their little Tykes playhouse. And that suffices for 2 chickens. And nobody even knows they're there, actually, because they're in the little Tykes playhouse, which probably should have a permit for, but it's a
Yeah,
plastic playhouse.
I will share that the only complaints I have had about chickens is, I think, on 2 occasions, there were complaints about people keeping roosters. And we don't allow that, and so those were eliminated based on complaint, but I haven't had any other type of complaints about raising or keeping chickens anywhere.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. And
So-
I agree, no roosters. I'm okay with that. I can be flexible.
So Nancy, would you like the commission to go back and discuss just the size of the lot that's going to allow these chickens?
I would like the commission to allow any citizen in the town of East Lyme by right to be able to keep chickens without having to come ask for a variance or permission.
Madam Chair,
This is on, this hearing's on this amendment, so we can discuss that in our regular meeting.
Madam Chair, what you might choose to do is withdraw it, go back to the drawing board, let Nancy draft something.
I'd like to hear what the other people say. I
Okay,
don't know if
thank you.
anybody else feels that way or they
No, I
want to
do
keep
too.
this.
I don't have any problem basically with anything that's here. I wonder what enforcement's gonna be. We gonna fly drones all over East Lyme and figure out where people are keeping chickens? I'm not too sure how that goes. And I think it's maybe unrealistic to think that somebody that has a 3,000 square foot lot should be keeping chickens. But that's just my opinion.
Well, we already have illegal chickens anyways. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people realize that. I'm for the going back to the drawing board and talking about that, having a discussion about it.
I would like to hear from the public. We do actually.
Yes.
have people here.
How about you, Norm?
I'm pretty much with Nancy, you require an acre in some zones and 10,000 square feet in another. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. I'd say wipe out the minimum acreage.
Okay.
If they
I
follow-
agree.
If they follow all the other stuff, there won't be a problem.
What are your thoughts on the definition of agriculture, if we need that in there? I don't see why we do, but you all may have a different opinion. We've had our regulations for years without having to define the word agriculture. I don't know.
I agree.
It's just something to think about.
I don't think we need to define it any further. I think some places say poultry and some places say chickens. You could probably unify the language, but quails are beginning to be very popular because you
And
can raise
ducks.
a ton of quails in 2 square feet.
I will just add, if I may interrupt, we do define farm and we do define livestock.
So we
And
really
if we need more, I usually use Black's Law Dictionary when I get to things like that may not be defined. You can't define everything in your zoning regs. And there are other sources like Webster's Third on a Bridge, et cetera, because as we know, zoning often comes down to language.
Okay. Why don't we go to the public and see if there's any public comment? Anyone tonight? Yes? Oh, yeah. Come on up and state your name and address.
Sure.
Thank you.
Susan DiAugustino, 8 Marshfield Road, that's in Giants Neck Heights. And I agree with Nancy what she said. It seems as though it's a little discriminatory to have a certain acreage or amount of property that you have to have these chickens, especially when you're just having several chickens for your own use, like three hens or 6 hens. It just doesn't seem, it's not a business, it's not really agriculture, they're more like pets, I would say. And I know people in town that have hens, and it's the same as Mr. Mulholland had said. He had 2 complaints or 3 complaints total?
Maybe.
So what need for enforcement is there, if that's the case? I just leave it there, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would add on the enforcement piece, people will call and complain if there's a problem. We don't have to be everywhere because the people in the neighborhoods kind of pay attention to their neighbors, and if there's a problem, they will call.
Thank you. Anybody else here tonight that would like to speak? No one?
Come on, don't be shy.
Okay.
I used to have a chicken, and I let it in the house, and it was a pet, and I put a diaper on it, and it would peck at the door, and it would give me 2 eggs a day. And her name was Sally, and it was great.
Thank you for sharing.
Want to add one more thing?
Yes, come on.
I was also to address like quail. They're much quieter than chickens.
Yeah, but the
Much
eggs are so
smaller.
much smaller.
That's true.
We're gonna have to have like 10
Tastes
of them.
good.
Yes. So, I mean, for private use and pets, I don't see that there would be any problem.
Should we be saying?
Thank you.
Should we be saying poultry instead of just chickens?
Yeah.
If we withdraw the motion, I think we can look at that.
What about multi?
Thank you. So we can,
And
yes?
what about multi-family housing where there's intense development, such as in some of our affordable housing places where there are, units that are attached to each other back to back and a large number of people living in a relatively small area?
That would
Should
be a
that
good thing
So,
to address.
so
that.
Yeah,
it's-
that is
so
Single
it's
family
20
dwelling, that's a good question.
So a 20-unit apartment building with 3 chickens each is 60 chickens?
No, I just brought it.
Nice point, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
I think that's why you had the minimum acreage in there for those kind of purposes. And I think when this board, years ago when you adopted, I think it was 2013 or somewhere around that time, I think that was part of the discussion. I obviously don't have the minutes, but I'm pretty sure the minimum lot size got a lot of attention at that time from my recollection.
So it sounds like we might want a motion to withdraw.
I make a motion, we withdraw the current text amendment zone for the chickens, poultry.
I second that.
Do you intend to go back to it?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're withdrawing it to go back to it.
So it would be better to table it?
No.
No, we have to change it.
I
We'll
gotta change it.
withdraw. Is
It's
there a
withdrawn.
second?
Denise seconded it.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor of withdrawing the current text amendment and going back to the drawing board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? We're withdrawing. Thank you. Next, we'll go to our regular meeting, which will be the first and only item will be the East Lyme Zoning Commission proposal to amend Section 1 by adding the definition of short-term rentals to the East Lyme zoning regulations. The floor is open for any of us.
Well, I think that a lot of work has gone into the whole short-term rental stuff. So I'm pretty comfortable. I mean, we've talked about it and stuff, and all the information we've gotten tonight. So I'm comfortable making a motion that we accept the definition.
I can add that that was one thing the entire short-term rental subcommittee agreed on after 14 months, was having a definition.
Excuse me, Debbie, was that to approve or deny?
Approve.
Thank you.
I second the motion to approve.
Is there any more discussion? I think it's pretty cut and dry. All
Here's-
those-
I'll do it. Let me do it. Let's do it
Okay.
clean.
Go ahead.
Move to approve the East Lyme Zoning Commission proposal to amend Section 1 by adding the definition of short-term rental to the East Lyme zoning regulations. That's what I move to approve.
Okay, and you seconded it.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 600.
Madam Chair, published next Thursday, effective Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The minutes. Has
I-
everyone looked at the minutes? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 2nd, 2025 regular meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 402. It doesn't look like we have old business or subcommittee reports. Coming up in January, we have the application of Parker's Place LLC pursuant to General Statutes 830G for a zone change, site plan, and coastal area management review for a multifamily affordable residential housing development on property located on the westerly side of Park Place, East Lyme, Connecticut, and more specifically designated as Lot 11 on East Lyme Assessor's Map 11.1. And you'll schedule that, Mr.
I will
Mulholland?
schedule that. I've got some work to do on and how to handle this, but we're working on it.
Thank you. Is there any business on the floor that the commission
I just have
members-
something I'd like to add. Since we have a new person joining us, and it's just general information, so a lot of times people see us, walking through the paper and stuff, but there's everything that everyone needs to know, even the public. We have meeting materials and agendas, so all this paperwork here is available to the public, so before a meeting, we all read all of this beforehand, and so anybody that's coming on new to the commission, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but it's good to have. That way you come prepared and you can make a decision and you have some, so it gives you information so you can ask questions.
I will share that. We've already arranged to meet next week.
Oh, I'm sure you did, Mr. Mahon, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's time for public delegations. Public delegation is the time when members of the public are invited to speak to the commission regarding zoning land use items that are not on tonight's agenda. Is there anyone here to speak on that? Oh, good, we have someone.
Just state name and address.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua Kasky, 1 Grooms Way, East Lyme, Connecticut. I just wanted to speak a little bit about the 830G thing that was mentioned just briefly. I think that it's important to keep in mind what affordable housing means to people in our community. It means that we get to keep teachers into our community. A first-year teacher in East Lyme makes under $50,000 a year. It means that they make 60% or less of the area mean income, which means that they are considered very low income in our community. And if we do not have housing to support them, that means that they do not live in our community. It means that they don't interact with our community members. It means that we don't really get to know who our community members are, and that's really a shame. And I think that it is incredibly important to keep that in mind when thinking about these affordable housing developments.
We'll keep that in mind in January when it's on our meeting agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe Ms. Kalal went to the planning meeting. Do you have a report?
I do have a report on the planning meeting.
Oh, I skipped ahead. I'm sorry. Zoning,
I'm all set.
you're all
We're
set.
busy, but you already know that. Some of the developments in town, the ZM downtown still doesn't have the building permit, but they should have it shortly. The Citgo gas station is working through it. The building's up. They've done
That's
some
looking so
landscaping.
good. Is everyone seeing
It is.
it?
It's
looking
coming
really
together.
nice.
There's a lot of landscaping to do. We're fighting the weather. The coastal crust that's replacing the old pizza joint. They've paved their lot. They're getting ready. They've still got a way to go, but they're looking to open. I met with Mystic
Mystic
Market
Market.
recently, and they are working forward to getting ready to open, so those things are occurring. So we are busy, and of course the daily stuff, there's people calling all the time.
I'm just curious whatever happened to Domino's and the Mexican restaurant.
I didn't hear from either one of them. They seem to have disappeared, and perhaps they didn't consummate their deals with the landlords, or they reevaluated and chose to move on. I don't know. Or they could still show up in the spring. So that's what I have to report tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Hardy, do you have anything for us? Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll start off with today. This afternoon, the board had a Zoom meeting, and we approved the proposal from Vision Government Studies, which will undertake the job of reviewing all the properties in town, all taxable and tax exempt real property, and the cost of that is $199,000, 202. So we've used Vision Services before. They've done a very good job, done what I think lived up to what they had agreed they would do. So they're very familiar with our area, and they're a very experienced team. And several of the team members that are going to be working on this have previously worked with the town, so they are very familiar with things, and we hope that that will go smoothly, and all of us can try to keep our fingers crossed about what the final results are, because I don't think that we're going to be expecting any tax reductions. We had a storm about, I think the middle of October, and we had a temporary wall which in-house staff had built at McCook's, and we were very concerned that that was not going to, that was not going to withstand the rush of waters, and unfortunately that stood strong. Some of you may have experienced power loss as a result of that storm in the air. If you were in the area, and it's 72 connector and 156. I was without power for about 4 hours, and I was, I'd say, roughly 2 miles from the site, and it all was due to a large tree coming down, crossing over the 72 connector, causing, of course, major traffic jam. But the point is, we really have to continue to keep up with and improve our infrastructure, because it should not have taken that long to address, which was truly not, a major incident which we would get with a hurricane or something. So that's on the horizon. Inland Wetlands Agency, they're finalizing their regulations. They'll be bringing them they've already brought those to the Board of Selectmen, but that was, which we just received, I think the day before the board meeting, and that was like a 30-page document. So that is tabled, but that is available if anyone on the commission would like to review it. But that's tabled until at least, at a minimum, of course, our next meeting. The pool roof at the high school needs to be replaced, and we had expected that we were going to get some help from the state with partial reimbursement, and unfortunately they decided, the state ruled that because it was a pool, but even though it was connected to the high school, it was not necessary for public education. So therefore, we'll get no state assistance for that, and it's a pretty pricey project. We have already bonded the money, assuming that the state was going to come up with its portion of the payment. So we're kind of out of luck there. There's no way to approve that. We have a proposal from the Public Safety Department to consider automated ticketing, so that if this equipment was set in place, then as you're driving through Main Street or any other part of town where these tracking devices are set up, they can get your license number. That would be recorded. They can get any other details, and we decided that that was just too much to begin to undertake, but it is a request from the Public Safety Department, and as you know, we are understaffed with our police officers and also other assistants. So theoretically, that would help with traffic enforcement, but I think that we would all have some concerns about the amount of information that's gathered. And as a matter of fact, there is a case before the state legislature that once they get your license, anybody gets your license plate number, which of course they could get at the grocery store, but once that's automated, if they can tap into the system, and then they can get other personal information about you. So That will be something that will, of course, go before a public hearing. And again, we did not feel that we had an adequate amount of information or discussion to really process that. The roof at Nyannick Center School will be replaced, and fortunately, the state is coming up with a considerable amount of money for that project. I don't have the exact figures, but it's going to be a significant amount of money to help us. Let's see, I think I have one other thing. Nope, you're saved.
Thank you so much. Now we'll have you report.
I have a question.
Oh, you do?
Maybe either Roseanne or Bill, what's the status of the 830G moratorium?
I could speak to that because I met with the town attorney yesterday on a variety of issues, and I did ask that question. They are continuing to prepare to go to the state. They ran into an anomaly. Apparently, some people who are inheriting affordable units, for example, grandma passes and leaves you an affordable unit, have been going into the town clerk's office and erasing the deed restriction and trying to sell them as market rates. So we're chasing 2 or 3 of those because we need to ensure in our report to the state that those units are counted as points. So we're chasing that down. We have one straightened out. I think we have 2 more to go. And we weren't aware of that until we were aware of it. And there are other implications concerning those kinds of actions and behaviors as well. And I'll just leave it there for now. But it continues, and I did meet with him, and that's one of the things we did discuss.
Any more questions? Okay.
Now, okay. So I went to the meeting on 10/14 of the Planning Commission, and I was there was lots of discussion. I was pretty upset that it did not appear that our Planning Commission members, no offense, Mr. Gordon, understood the purpose of a buffer, the 40-foot buffer, and did not understand the implications of turning that 40-foot buffer into a 10-foot buffer. I just couldn't believe they did that. But Mr. Garrity was there, and he was thrilled because that gave him an extra 3 lots and, $1 million for his clients. So I was really ticked that nobody understood the importance of buffers. Mr. Menapace didn't even understand what a buffer was. It was a depressing meeting, and that is my report.
Okay.
On another note, can I, since we're still in the meeting, is it possible that we can discuss tonight about changing the time of the meeting from 7:30 to 7?
We're kind of beyond that section of the meeting.
Well,
We can do it next time, put it on the agenda.
okay, fair enough.
Mr. Liska, will you be attending the Planning Commission meeting 11:10?
Well, now that I'm aware of it, I will.
Oh, thank you.
7 o'clock is their time.
Yes, thank you. I don't have any comments, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second.
I think all in favor?
Aye.
Good night.